building. Your father's son, he's going to Cedar Avenue?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
he's been
nice.
going. He's been going to Cedar Avenue.
It's nice over there. People there.
David, it's for the rabbi himself or
Like a
for his
group.
son?
Just like that,
But
just
what's
son.
up?
I
No,
guess
I'm asking you, it's for the rabbi or for his son?
I've never-
No, for him. For him.
Because for him, it means it's a gibbour, not
I don't know.
it's easier. Selection is much bigger.
Yeah.
Somebody has the eighth meeting him and takes him over there. He has the eighth meeting him in the morning and walks
Yeah,
him
yeah,
over there.
yeah.
Rabbi, you went to Israel this time?
It might be, it might be. Look a second on the Rambam Sefer Ezekiel. So I heard the loud discussion this morning. As always, everyone presses his button and he says whatever he heard 50 years ago, and he's adamant about it, yes or no. Or Perek Yud Melchot Gzela V'Aveda.
I heard
Rambam-
screaming, but I didn't hear what they were saying.
So the question was, Aveda for Goy. Forget now a Goy. How about Israeli left? You found an Aveda of the Israeli, the leader of the left. The guy is Ochel Levelot Utrufot Beyom Kippur B'Chavana. Yes? There's no difference between a Goy and him. You realize the Rambam says openly, puts the Jew
He
first.
says so. That's
The
what he
Rambam
says.
says so. So it's important to realize it has nothing to do with the Goy B'Chlav. You open the Rambam here. Take Perek 11. Rambam Perek Yud Aleph, Yechot Shabbat Aveda. Shabbat, remember, but Rambam, it goes to say Lava, but that's interesting. The Rambam has the Chod Geneva separate, and he has the Chod Gzeila V'Aveda.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
halakha?
yeah.
Perek Yud Aleph.
Wow. Beginning?
Yeah.
I got it.
Beginning. השבת אבדה לישראל, returning the lost item to a Jew מצוות עשה, שנאמר, השב תשיבם. והרואה אבדת ישראל ונתעלם ממנה, if you find the lost item and you know for sure it's a Jewish neighborhood belongs to a Jew, והניחן, and you left it, עובר בלא תעשה, שנאמר לא תראה את שור אחיך והתעלמת מהם, וביטל מצוות עשה, עשה לא תעשה, not to pick up the item and try to locate the owner. ואם ישיבה, יותר לי, מצוות עשה. לקח את האבדה ולא ישיבה, not only you're not returning it, if you left it in the street, it's not good, עשה ולא תעשה, but you decided you take it for yourself. ביטל עשה, מצוות עשה, ועבר על שני לאווים, הלא תוכל להתעלם והלא תפסול.
That's why he puts together with Shabbat
This exactly, because very often picking the item and keeping it is gzela. This is exactly the reason he says, okay. Now listen carefully of the Rambam. אפילו היה בעל האבדה רשע ואוכל לבלות לתיאבון. He's a man from the community, you know that he's not careful about kosher, מצווה להשיב לו אבדתו. אבל אוכל לבלה להכניס. If you know that he's doing the עבירות on purpose, yes? הרי זה אפיקורוס. והאפיקורסים ועובדי כוכבים ומחללי שבת בפרהסיה. Listen now to the list of the Rambam. האפיקורסים ועובדי כוכבים ומחללי שבת בפרהסיה, אסור להחזיר להם אבדה כעקום. The same as a goy. אסור. The חוכמה and all these halachot is not to live in the middle and to remember what the Rambam says. Not okay. Let's continue. אבדת עובד כוכבים מותרת, שנאמר, אבדת אחיך, והמחזירה, הרי זה עובר עבירה, לפני שהוא מחזיק יד, אולי we should have one more רמב"ם, 1, 2, 3 or 4.
Take a second.
רמב"ם מספר נזיקין, הלכות גזלה ואבדה, פרק י"א, הלכה ג'. אבדת עובד כוכבים מותרת, שנאמר אבדת אחיך, והמחזירה הרי זה עובר עבירה, מפני שהוא מחזיק יד ראשי עולם. So to return an avera to a drug dealer, a Jewish, or to a man who purposely is doing against Judaism, and a goy, it's the same category. The Rambam says, lama ze asur machzik yad rishei olam. Let's say you know the drug dealer in the community, and you saw how he dropped pouch filled up with cash, $100 bills that he collected from drugs. If you give it back to him, he's buying new merchandise and he is poisoning other kids. Machzik yad rishei olam. Now comes the Rambam. והיא מחזירה, you have it Rani? זה אין דבר החגימה. והיא מחזירה לקדש את השם, כדי שיפארו את ישראל, they should praise Jews, וידעו שהם בעלי אמונה, הרי זה משובח. After the introduction, the Rambam told us that ישראל רשע להכעיס אפיקורוס, גוי, בחבר שבת בפרהסיה אסור. He says, if you're returning it, and the message that the fellow would get is, כדי שיפארו את ישראל וידעו שהם בעלי אמונה, הרי זה משובח. For instance, you know, the famous Rabbi Grossman, everyone likes to take pictures with him, everyone likes his story, but of course his roots are not him. It's his father and his grandfather. His father, who was a Gaon Atzum Me'od, writes in his book that he grew up in real poverty. And he said that before, the father writes, before they had a daughter to marry off, and they didn't have money to buy any dresses, his mother went to the Arab market to buy silk, to sew. Said the Arab lady who sold her, like let's say if you gave her $50 bill, she gave you as if you gave her $500 bills. The change she gave her was 4 times more than. She didn't say one word. She comes home. She says to her husband, "Look, not only I got a bargain, I got." He says, "Go right away and tell it." She says, "I didn't do anything to deceive the woman. I paid her."
I would go, right?
I would go. Says to her, you have to go how he says. He says, "Go return it." He returned it. He said the Arab lady went out to the Arab market.
Sure.
In public, he said in Arabic, 20 years, no one of us Arabs ever gave me $1 back. Yes. Here is a religious tzaka. She went wild. Yes. Yeah, but it's a challenge. Everyone likes to return a $20 bill, but if you have $500,000.
Oh, gosh.
Too much of a test.
You never heard this discussion by
Too much of a test.
Every so often you can hear that a guy, let's say, the cop stops you and you offer him, you put put $50, the cop arrests you for bribery. You never heard it, he arrests you for $1,000, right? $100 bills, and you have already 6 points on your dollar. Put it 1,000. You never heard it. Why? Of course you would
They all
keep
take it.
Of course you would keep it, yes. All this discussion is very nice. The Rambam is saying, so the question is in today's day and age, yes? In today's day and age, if it happens, Look at all the Hashem Yishmerenu, all these Israelis that helped the Arabs in Gaza, this and that. Shchita, they took babies into microwave and pressed the button in front of the mother. Okay, so the question is every Arab like this? The answer is definitely not. Now he continues. ובמקום שיש חילול השם, אבידתו אסורה וחייב להחזירה. Up till now there were 3 levels. Don't return it. If there is a Kiddush Hashem, הרי זה משובח, But if by not returning it, to be Chilul Hashem, which means it's obvious to the goy that the Jew found it, because it's a Jewish neighborhood, it says, הרי זה אסור וחייב להחזירה. ובכל מקום, everywhere means, מכניסים כליהם מפני הגנבים. Let's say, I'll give you an example. Yesterday I'm walking on the Daf Yomi. I see a SUV in the back The door is open. Obviously, the guy took the merchandise. He forgot to.
Close it, yeah.
Wow.
מחזירים כאלה means I'm obligated to protect his property. Why? מפני הגנבים, he says, ככלי ישראל. By me, ציפור פאק, obviously was a Jew. מפני דרכי שלום. So whenever people say you have to be the judge, and again, these questions is not a $20 bill. It's very easy. We spent a $20 bill for two. We're talking about $100,000.
Yeah.
And you have to marry your daughter or your business is doing bad. Then you see if the man, this is it.
So I'm sorry, yesterday's story, what's the analogy? If the owner is a Jew, surely you're gonna stand up and help him anyway. If the owner were a goy, you still be obligated.
I'm
to help
saying
him.
the Rambam is saying you're obligated. Obligated to protect his property, protect from Nezek. Why? Because it's obvious if you're doing it, just
How about if it's he's a Buddhist, and it's the Buddhist all over his thing, and he's definitely over that, and he may be aware that you're gonna help
the
him.
Rambam is talking
Yeah,
about the Buddhists.
yeah.
He's talking about the Buddhists.
Yeah,
People don't
so
realize.
Jews.
Of the Kochavim, the Rambam is talking about.
Okay. So even in the worst case, you're obligated to do so.
I told you many times, I used to, I'm not good at this, so, but every time, I used to go twice a year, every time before I went to bed, today I bought a book and I finished it and I played it. Anyway, so one of the books I bought was a collection of books that once a month a certain religious newspaper wrote, written by the people that have person that writes the story, writes like this. I'm a doctor, I grew up in Ramat Gan. Not only I didn't grow up Jewish, religious. I used to see a Hasid, I used to go to the street. I mean, really grew up. His father was, says, until my daughter got leukemia. He said, leukemia.
Wow.
And doctors in Israel told him, we cannot save her. If you go to Boston, but to go to Boston, remember, the insurance, the hotel.
Yeah.
And I came to my father, he says to me, look, you're a young doctor, you have to take a big loan, I'll help you a little bit. Says, but you have to, I mean, obviously you wrote for the story, but then I come to Boston. I remember he has to read like you met, a name.
And the Boston Rebbe is famous for the Rebbe.
But he comes to, he says, we check to a hotel, we come to the doctor, and I see two Hasidim. He says that in Ramat Gan, I would cross the street, come to me, oh, Shalom Aleichem, what brings you? His daughter. We're probably looking to this doctor. We know him very well. Then they tell him, by the way, where do you stay? He said, in this hotel. He said, you have to pay $300 a night. We'll give you a free. So I look at them like, anyway, they made the collection. This is for the Boston College. Anyway, he says, for 3 weeks. Food, they never ever spoke to me about religion, about money, nothing. Says after 3 weeks, it was very successful. She's in remission. We fly back on the plane. My wife says to me, אתה יודע שאנחנו נהיים שומרי שבת. Crazy?
Wow.
So why did the people help us? I mean, why? But this was really Hasidim. But this is exactly what he means. I mean, the point is, I'm not helping you because I'm interested in selling you religion. I'm helping you because you're a Jew. No, but he writes. The nice part of the article, David, is that we really became Baalei Teshuvah. Says when I became Baalei Teshuvah, I realized that not every religious guy is as nice as these people, and I realized that some people, but I realized that a religion that raises people like that, hundreds of stories. Now look at the Shulchan
Rabbi,
Aruch.
it seems that he's saying two contrary things a little bit. Hamatzira hareze, two
Mishubah.
contrary things. He says no. Hamatzira hareze over avera mefesh mafsik yada
Yeah.
sheolam.
Yeah.
So you see a priest drop $100.
See the story.
Okay. Then he says, "B'chol matzitsin kalehem b'pnei haganavim kalei yisrael b'nei darchei shalom." So these two things seem to be opposite.
He would say that for a priest he would not do it either. Yes, unless it's obvious to everyone. I'll give him the story. This morning they were learning a topic. So Rabbi Maslow, I'll give you the part that he didn't say also. It was Chaim Zonenfeld, who was the chief rabbi. הוא היה איש קדוש באמת. Different than say what kadosh means. Anyway, So he had a rule. He had a minimal salary. He lived very, very poor. And when there was no money at all, he used to always take a walk, and he knew that as he walked, he will find money on the street. No, but this
From
is
our
one of a
church.
trillion,
I know.
in a trillion years. It's not Baba's stories. This is a real.
That elderly aunt used to tell me, every time I go to the bank, look on the floor, you never know, you might find money.
But by him, the money was for food and water,
Yeah.
not coffee and cheese Danish. Anyway, one time, this is also before he became the chief rabbi. Anyway, he's walking and he saw a priest. I mean, this is really the story. A priest, and he saw Napoleon. Napoleon is like a gold coin. It's like $1,000. It's money for a month. He picks it up. The guy next to him saw it. He says, Rabbi, he saw that it fell from him. Says mitzvah Kedush Hashem, give it to him.
Oh,
He didn't respond. The guy continues. He didn't respond because his children didn't have what to eat that day, neither the night before in the house. Anyway, the guy is nudging him, Rabbi, this is your opportunity. So he says to the guy, I have a great idea. I'm lending you the gold Napoleon right after the police give it to him, and then give it back. I gave the Kiddush Hashem to you. You what he says to him? I'm lending you the money right after the police have the Kiddush Hashem. The guy disappeared in a minute. Understand? It's very easy to tell.
yeah, somebody else. Somebody else's money.
The Eli is saying, the Rambam is saying before, כדי שיפארו את ישראל וידעו שהם בעלי אמונה, הרי זה משובח. And the Rambam says, ובכל מקום מחזירים כליהם מפני הגנבים, בני דרכי שלום. You have to live in peace with everyone. If your neighbor would be the priest and you see the left door to his car open, you have to close. This is what the Rambam is saying.
Okay.
The
And then,
Avedah,
but on the first
the
part, where he says-
Avedah, the Rambam says you don't have to because there's no Darkei Shalom.
okay,
No,
that's fine. So if there's no Darkei Shalom, then it's
No, but-
Asur.
but-
Years ago, this you don't have, it goes Asur.
no, but it says if this guy is available as
But that's why we use the priest.
Yeah,
Let's say
yeah,
he's,
no, but the story happens to be a story with
If
priest.
a Jewish neighbor is a drug dealer, a known drug dealer, you're not gonna close the door for him.
Of course not.
That's it.
You see, but this is the point. If my neighbor is the Israeli leftist who really hates us, yes, I would definitely close the door for him. In today's day and age, like one of the main reasons why I would return his money also, because most Israelis know about religious people only from the media. They never, ever.
First hand experience.
I was in the army for a very short time, and basic training, anyway, but when we made a party after the basic training, everyone said something. The guy says, this was for people really from Hutzlaut. Says, I never met religious people. I know about them from the media. He came from Chulon. Says, but when I met, he pointed out to a group of us. He says, I never realized how. No, but this is the point. The point in today's day and age, it's not that Shalom. The only way to show them that I'm really not what
They say you are, yeah.
Even in the office, everybody knows the management is all Orthodox Jews. How we carry ourselves in office, how we treat our staff, it's an important message to the people, how the Jews run their world, run their business.
I'm sure you remember he was forgot his name. He's in charge of all the sport. He's a religious guy, and every time there's a big game. Yeah. I heard him say, this is Camp of Flatbush. He said this to a minute. I'll tell you else. Says he hired the daughter of the Korean ambassador to the UN. You know the story?
Say the guy, I
He didn't
forgot.
know.
Great story.
No,
Great
he
story.
says he didn't know. He says that she was treated in the office. Remember, not because he didn't know who she is.
Yeah,
She was treated as a regular. Anyway, when he came to a vote, one of the big votes, Korea for the first time, and they abstained, not that they vote for Israel. The Israeli ambassador is calling him up. What's going on? He says, my daughter told me that you are wonderful people. He says, I never knew it. Yeah, but this is really what it means. I mean, remember, it's a simple. Jack, you went to Flatbush? Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember Mr. Raffaelli? You like
Sure,
remember
Raffaelli, yeah.
Raffaelli? Raffaelli was a Hebrew teacher. Later he became he told me, this is he told me, his grandfather, today is 85, so his grandfather was living in Hebron in 1929 at the pogrom. Says, no, I mean, they have read the pogrom, they came with 53 Bachurei Yeshiva, they beheaded, anyway. He says, he came to his grandfather's family, and the Arab neighbor stands there with a gun, he says, in Arabic, if you go in, I'm shooting. Protected him. After 14, 16 hours, when the British army finally comes, he's going to the neighbor and says, why did you do it? Basically, he put his life on the line. Because it says, because 2 years ago, says the Arab to the Jew, I came to borrow a lot of money from you, and I came with a very expensive bracelet as a collateral. And you told me the collateral keep, I trust you. Said, if you trust me, you're my brother.
Wow.
I put my life in.
Wow.
So this is, there are many Arabs like this, but of course, unfortunately, they cannot open their mouth.
Yeah. Wow.
And after so many years already, after so many, the interesting part of the story is that in 1967, the children went to this old Arab who's still alive and says, you saved us in 29. Now we are on top. Can we help you? Because one son didn't have a job. They arranged for him to be the Egel bus driver. He was the first Jew Arab bus driver. But you see, it's a very fine line. And it's always easy to talk about giving an Abeda, about cheating Jews and non-Jews.
I want to give you a quick.
Take this.
Years ago, I came back from Las Vegas in a late night, midnight. I had my bags, I put in the taxi. And I'm being taken home about midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. The driver was Muslim, Pakistani. We started to compare notes on Judaism and Islam. We had a very nice conversation. I decided to leave, to give a nice tip, and very fine. And I'm like, okay. I get in the house, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, right? I left my attaché case in the taxi.
Ooh.
And at that time, there was no computers, all my papers, all my files, everything is there. I'm going crazy. Of course, I ran out, the guy's gone. I remember his name was Khan. I looked it up. There's a million Khans in Brooklyn. K-A-H-N.
Good luck.
K-H-A-N, okay. I'm going crazy. All the TLC, you think they're waiting for my phone to go up in the morning? So I'm praying and praying. 2:30 in the morning, I'm getting ready to go to bed. I gave up, that's it. This hunk in my driveway, the taxi driver's hunk in the corner. What happened? He said, I picked up my next passenger. She was in Wall Street. She said, there's a bag in the back. I realized it was yours.
Muslim.
I came back to give it to you. Wow. They made the story. I was so overwhelmed. I felt my typical answer. I gave the guy $100. He says, I can't take the $100 from you. You're my brother.
Yeah, but this is the same word.
And then I said, no, because you're my brother, you must take it.
Good.
This is a bad story. You just said because my brother, I couldn't help but have to answer. It's a true story.
Wow.
That's just like my brother heard. It's a true story.
Yeah. That wasn't a joke.
I'm sorry, Simon.
Wow.
No, but see, the trick in this, I'm telling you, unfortunately, that Islam, the original Islam, without.
Yeah, there's so many similarities.
I'm looking with Iran. You can look at it if you want. My father, Alav Shalom, my parents lived on the second floor. When I came from Shul, he collapsed on top. He needed a pacemaker. My mother started to scream. 2 Arabs walking nearby. Ran up, picked my father, put him on the bed, and said, Giveret, are you okay? Should we stay? My mother wanted to pay me. It's Chaz Shalom.
Yeah.
Which means basic Islam is that you have to about.
Of course.
The minute you fueling that, we are murderers, we took the land, we took this, we took that.
Like he buys them, they did not consider Abu Dhabi.
No, definitely not of the
Yeah,
Abu
yeah.
Dhabi. Definitely not of the Abu Dhabi. The Maharil Diski, Reisa Machbav is 266. David, look on top, David. All the books are the same. First, you have to look on top. The Siman. It's always by Siman. Reisa Machbav.
Right page.
Reisa Machbav, yes. You see the title of the Siman? The title, you see? Din Avedat Ovrei Avera. You realize Shulchan Aruch didn't say Din Avedat God, because he's going to say exactly as the Rambam is going to tell us.
Okay.
Look at the Rav. You see, you see the Shulchan Aruch says it exactly the same language of the Rambam. You see how he starts? Avedat ha'akur muteret. Shene'emar. Now muteret means you don't have to go out of your way to pick it up. To do it. Shene'emar avedat achicha. והמחזירה, now he copies the Rambam. הרי זה עובר עבירה, מפני שהוא מחזיק ידי עוברי עבירה. זה עובר עבירה.
So what does muteret mean?
Mutter, you can keep it.
You can keep it. Not you don't have to return it. I mean, it's like
No, remember, I saw the Rambam, there are two levels.
Yeah.
If I see a wallet and I'm not picking it, I have two averot, lotus and I take it.
Right.
I have another lotus.
Now, obviously, just to what we were learning today, if Rav the Tana Goyim,
We'll see in a minute, I'll show you.
what are you trying
We're going to see in a minute. ואם החזירה לקדש את השם כדי שיפארו את ישראל וידעו שהם בעלי אמונה, הרי זה משובח. You realize he skipped it says if you return it, just to give a message. As you can ask Jeffrey Dayan, Jeffrey is not in the Zoom now, but not here. And בעלי אמונה, we're honest people, we're straight.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dayan went to vacation in Italy. He says he left the hotel in the morning to his car and he found a wallet with a lot of money. He was smart enough not to tell the guy in charge of it. He just said, if anyone says that he lost it,
Send it to me.
sure enough, at night someone calls him up and he gave it back. The goy says to him, I'm here for many years. And many people lost, no one ever told me. No one said what you said, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Rabbi,
Every told him because I'm religious. Says it was a lot of money, 2,000-3,000 euros in the wallet. Yes. Yeah.
one time in business, Rabbi, a retailer, Target, sent us a duplicate check.
Oh,
They sent us a check, was a test order for $50,000. They sent the check twice.
wow.
So we returned the check and I went to my meeting in Target like 3 weeks later. And I'm in a meeting and I'm looking at a big program with the buyer and the head of the department, she was the number 2 person. Her name was Trish Adams. She walks in, she says, do you make all this product that we have on the wall? I said, yeah. She goes, could you meet these prices? I could actually meet the prices, but I can make it even better quality. She tells me, you have the program. I said, oh, just like that, she goes, we want to do business with people who operate their business honestly. And she rewarded me because we sent her back the check.
It's a good story. I'm going to use it. It's a good story. I always look for
Actually, it was the beginning of a 12-year program she gave me.
Wow.
So show you how it works.
Wow.
Hashem watches over it.
No, but this people don't realize because the reason why people are laughing and shoot, we panic, we count pennies, all this, is because very often it's the opposite. I mean,
It's a famous story about Rabbi Shmuel.
Right. He says that he bought, it was a regular account. He bought a house and he started to do renovation and he found on the roof on the second floor
70,000.
a lot of money, but when he found it, it was a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
So he went to Moshe Feinstein. He told him, if you ask are you mechuyav or not, he says there's no question that those who sold you the house, the money doesn't belong to you because no one sells a house and you have there it was more than $100,000 in cash. Wow. So obviously it's 2 or 3 before. He says if you want to see over there, he said if you want you can keep it because there's no.
if we can return it.
Oh, see, this is the point. Rabbi Shlomo says he went out of his way to find out who was the previous owner. He found. And he says, one of them says, we heard the one that it was money, we didn't know what the money was. He believes he became what he became because Rabbi Feinstein told him openly, if you want it, you're not mechuyav to go and look for the But this is the point. The point is, you know, Rav David Cohen, he had a big shul on Kunyang Avenue, and he says he published many books, many of his Mitpalalim are professionals. They published this book. He writes in the first book, I have it, said like this: I have to dedicate the book to my father. Listen good what he said in the book. He says, my father was an immigrant from Russia. He was blind in one eye. He barely spoke English. And this is going back to the Lower East Side when, Jews are peddlers. He says, one day a woman comes, she's shopping around. And I think the price was like $2 or $3. She gave him new dollar bills. She gave him extra $1. Extra $1. At that time, like quadruple the. And the woman left. He realized after he left. He says he left his business open, the Lower East Side. He crossed East Broadway to go. She told him that she was a booking. He ran to the after. In the meantime, she already paid for the fare. He bought a token, went in, told the lady, gave the extra $1. Then next week, the woman comes with a young lady, and they really buy a lot. They're paying. As I'm giving him the change, he writes in the book. She bends down, she kisses my hand. Told him what's there. Says, my brother is a priest in Pennsylvania. And I told him it's true. Says, my brother, you listen to his sermon, told the story. He says, it's a mitzvah to support a guy like this. He says, I got orders from all my friends today.
Wow.
How could that? This is just, my father was not a Talmid Chacham, but a simple, straight, honest. Eli, this is the real Ta'ut Akum. There's nothing. The lady gave him new dollar bill. He said very often.
They stick together.
Yeah, but you see, you have to go up with honesty. Otherwise, look what he says. Shulchan Aruch further. במקום שיש חילול השם, עבודתו אסורה, וחייב להחזירה. צעירי ובכל מקום מכניסים כליהם, what is the בכל מקום? Yes? מכניסים כליהם ככלי ישראל, which means because it's a public, yes? Look, now if you have access to the Sman, you see the Sman, look a second. Look at them. The Shulchan Aruch, Choshen Mishpat, has two main commentaries. It's important to know. You see, one is Menirat Einayim, the other one is the Shach. Go now and look at the Menirat Einayim, Dalet. You see Dalet, Yila Machnesim Kelem, you have it? It's לשון הטור, בכל מקום מכניסים כליהם מפני הגנבים, עם כלי ישראל, בני דרכי שלום. ועל פי, אוקיי, והאיים פירושי שם כתבתי במידת הסבירה, לא אסרה תורה אלא השבת אבידה, זה נפל מן העקום בלי ידיעתו, ואיני יודע באיזה מקום נפל. השאין כמי שהניח כליו ומטלטלה בחצרו, ולא עלה על דעתו שיעבד, אלא ישראל שנודע לו, he says you have to return. Now look at סעיף ב' here. חייב, you see סעיף ב' שולחן ערוך now? חייב להחזיר עבודת ישראל, אפילו היה בעל העבודה רשע, it goes to non-kosher restaurants because it's good. אבל אוכל, remember he's talking about Jews now, אבל אוכל נבלה להכעיס, הרי הוא אפיקורוס מישראל, והאפיקורסים ועובדי עבודת כוכבים בישראל מחללי שבת בפרהסיה, אסור להחזיר להם.
Just like you can't drink wine with them, you can't do all the other issues.
This is exactly what he's saying. Now, if you go now to, so remember, this is Hilchot HaShabbat Aveda, yes? See, what's interesting if you realize here, he mentions that if you were telling to show them that we're honest, go now to Siman Shin Memchet. Shin Memchet. Look on top. Siman Shin Memchet. It's easy to remember because שיר ממך לשמח, זה בדיוק לא היה. שיר ממך. It's easy to argue should do return $20. אסור לגנוב אפילו כלשהו עם תורה. ואסור לגנוב אפילו דרך שחוק. You know, sometimes kids will take away from the teacher. It's all this thing. ואפילו על מנת להחזיר. או יבד 60 ממחת. יבד יגס בעלו לבד. 60 ממחת צימר. ואפילו על מנת להחזיר. או כדי לשלם תשלומי כפל. Let's say my neighbor is a poor man. He refuses to be assisted. Very simple trick. I stole something from him. I'm obligated to pay him double this way. I stole it for that purpose.
Oh, in order to
verse
give
eight,
them
yeah.
double.
Yeah.
Trying to help.
Not giving you any gift. The Torah says I have to pay double. אסור. כדי לשלם, או כדי לצערו. Whatever you do, your intent is not to keep the item, it's to play a game. אסור, fine. Okay,
But the reason he gives Kadesh lo yagil asma. So he's not saying it's asur in its essence.
correct.
It's asur because you're going to get used to
What
it.
Eli is saying is, a regular ganav, Eli cannot be a witness in your daughter's wedding. But this type of a ganav, the kosher witness, he's saying it's a suda rabbanan, because you get used to. עכשיו תשמע מה שהוא אומר ככה. כל העובר, כל הגונב, אפילו שווה פרוטה, עובר עליו דלא תגנוב, שווה פרוטה, וחייב לשלם. אחד הגונב ממון ישראל, לא הגונב ממון של העקוב. שולחן ערוך פוסק ברמב"ם, stealing, remember this is stealing now. אסור מן התורה, because he puts אחד הגונב ממון ישראל, אחד הגונב ממון עקוב. If you look at all the commentators, it says בפירוש, it's אסור מן התורה. Look at the shach. Look at the shach, shach bet. See shach, it says on top, שפתי כהן, you see on top, שפתי כהן. Look at the shach bet, bet. פה הגונב ממון של עקוב משמע, כאן זה אסור מדאורייתא. מדאורייתא to steal from a God. וכן כתב מהרש"ל, פרק הגוזל, בספירה לעולה הרמב"ם, והטור והסמ"ג. רמב"ם, טור סמ"ג, שכתבו בלשון הזה, זה אסור מדאורייתא. Now, listen to an interesting question. This really requires the question and the answer to understand the answer. Now he's asking a question. קשה מכאן, על מה שכתב הרב בהגה באבן העזר, קידשה בגזל או בגנבת עקום, הבי מקודשת. Why? אינה צריכה להרחיב רק קידוש. If you stole the ring from a goy, says the Shulchan Aruch, she's מקודשת. If I would be Mekadesh my wife for the ring that I stole from the Jew, she is not Mekudeshet. Why? Because it's not mine. Says if you're telling me it's assumed in the Torah, why is she Mekudeshet? Stole her gold.
Oh, well, you didn't. You saw, but it still might be yours. You still have maybe it's a. It became
so what Eli is saying.
Now.
So you have commentary on the bottom. This is the. It's called the Tivot HaMishpat, and he says here what Eli said. It's assuming a Torah to steal from the gold. But if I stole from David $20, I'm chuyav in a Torah to return. Says by a goy, Eli, there's no chiyuv Shabbat with Eli. I did it. It's over. It's over.
You stole it. You don't have to return it.
Which means you cannot really fix it. If you give it back, you're fine. But there's no mitzvah in the Torah. If I stole from Eli, I'm chuyav in the Torah to refer more goodness.
Yeah, I've seen this somewhere. I forgot it was somebody writes with even with the sin of Yosef and kidnapping. Or
Okay, yeah,
something else where they wrote.
Maybe it says here. It says in the bottom. It says by a Jew, the Torah says, לא תגזול ואישי בתגזלה. אבל בעקום, והיא דקרא דרשה גמורה, מכל מקום, היכן מצינו לחייבי רחמנה בהשבה לעקום. Understand, what you did עבירה מן התורה. If you give it back to him, it's very nice, but you say you're not מחויב, so therefore, if I'm using the ring is not mine, the ring belongs to the God. By a Jew, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
You know where this is Afkamina halacha? The halacha is that Gezel Akum is Asur. Shulchan Aruch. Listen good. I
But you
swear.
have me time, no blood, whether you return it or not. There's no kapara with
No, it
you're right.
says
That's
that
where
the
I see that.
Avera
Yeah, yeah.
stays with you. If you gave it back to him, it's as if you never stole it. Really.
Yeah, but I'm saying you chayav mita with Sheva Mitzvah B'nai Noach,
Even
right?
if a goy stole.
If a goy steals it, right, and then he has no ability to return it to do kapara. So even if he returns it, he's
Yes,
still chayav mita. I've seen that somewhere.
Yes, I'm not sure. You see what he said?
I
He
saw
said,
that somewhere.
he said like this: if a goy stole from the Jew, it's one of the Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach. He's chayav mita. He says even if the goy would tell, I'm not sure.
I'll try to have to find
No,
where I
that's
saw
fair,
it.
that's fair.
I'm not making it up.
No,
I know
no,
it's not
sure,
that.
no, I get it. He's saying, even if the goy would return it, it's not pashut lama, because if you return, okay, let's put it this way. I stole from Jack $1,000. I'm gonna, I'm returning it after a week. Is it if I never stole it, or I was a thief for a week, now I'm giving it back? Here is saying by a goy, since there's no obligation to return,
Yeah.
so even if you give it back and the Jew is not missing the money, but Shem-
somewhere, one of the
Yeah,
cases, one of the I
interesting.
saw it somewhere.
it's interesting,
Remember
no, because
where.
it have coming out would be, listen to this. I stole at work from a goy before Sukkot. Okay, the halacha is it's a sum in the Torah. Says very one of the Rishonim says even if it's mutar to steal, but you cannot make a bracha on it. Why? Because yours is not. You know what it says? It's brilliant. You know what it says? Even if Gezel Goy is mutar, but it doesn't make it yours. If I buy an item, I'm buying a talk from Eli, I paid him, made a kinyan, it's mine. Right? If I steal it from Eli, I have every second I have a chiyuv to give it back to Eli. It's not lachem. Even if it's mutar means there's no avera to steal maybe, but who makes it yours? Who made it yours? Anyway, the halacha in Shulchan Aruch is it's a surah in the Torah anyway. Okay, this is because of today's
I'm gonna
shiur.
figure it out.
No,
I have to remember where I saw it.
No, I would be back. No, this is very interesting.
I forgot where I saw it. I don't remember if it was.
David, this goes back. All the four big ones.
All right,
You know where it is?
yes.
The Marshall Torah, right at the top
Yes,
shelf,
yes,
the top two shelves.
What about the Mishnah Berurah?
Mr. Abu can go because I was explaining
All
to
right, 1
kids.
second.
No, so you leave it. Maybe tomorrow I'll teach you. I'll explain to kids in the morning.
How about the Rambam machine?
Rambam always leave because we eventually come back to it.
All them, all these?
How many Anashim we have?
We have 2 machine, then we have